Today we're diving into something that's incredibly important, but so often goes unspoken. Childhood depression, right here in India. Now I know it can be a tough topic to talk about, but really understanding it, that's the very first step we can all take to help the kids in our lives, in our own families, navigate their world a little better.
You know the feeling, right? You see a child who's maybe a little down or quieter than usual, and your first thought is probably, is this just a phase, a bad mood, or could it be a sign of something deeper? That's the question we're really going to get into today.
And here's the thing we need to get straight right away. We're not talking about just being sad for a day or two. Childhood depression is a real, persistent mental health disorder. It actually changes a child's mood, the way they think, and how they behave. It's a serious condition, and if we don't address it, the consequences can be just as serious.
And the numbers, well, they really paint a picture of just how big this issue is. The Indian Journal of Psychiatry found that somewhere between 2 and 8% of school children in India are dealing with depression. Just think about that for a second. In any classroom you walk into, there's a good chance 1, 2, maybe even more kids are struggling with this in silence.
And as kids get into their teen years, the situation gets even more urgent. Data from NIMHANS shows that a staggering 1 in 7 adolescents in India has a diagnosable mental health condition. This isn't some rare thing. It's a huge challenge that we really need to be paying attention to.
So, the big question is, how do we even spot it? Kids often don't have the words to come out and say, hey, I think I'm depressed. Instead, they show us. They show us through their feelings and their actions. So, it's up to us to learn to read those signs, to basically learn the language of their distress.
Emotionally, it's not always just about sadness. In fact, a huge sign can be sudden irritability or anger that just seems to come out of nowhere. And you have to listen closely for those heartbreaking phrases, those feelings of worthlessness, things like, nobody likes me. That's not just a kid looking for attention, that's a window right into how they're feeling inside. And then there's their behavior. You might see a child start to pull away from friends, from family. The games they used to love, suddenly they're not interested. Maybe they're sleeping way more, or way less. And a big one, a huge red flag, is when they suddenly don't want to go to school. This isn't about being defiant. It's often a sign that they're really struggling. Depression also hits them cognitively. It can actually make it hard for a child to concentrate in class or to remember things they just learned. And that, of course, often leads to a sudden drop in their grades, which might be one of the very first things a teacher notices.
And this is one that might surprise you. Depression shows up in the body too. Think about frequent headaches or stomach aches that have no other explanation. If a child just seems tired all the time, totally out of energy, or if even their movements and their speech seem to have slowed down. It's all connected. It's not just in their head, it's in their whole body.
Okay, so seeing all these signs, it can be really worrying. Of course it can. But that concern, that's the first step. The next step is to move from that worry into a place of clarity. It's about taking real, proactive steps to figure out what's truly going on.
And here's a pretty clear 4-step path to do just that. First, you've got to look for patterns. Are these symptoms sticking around for more than 2 weeks? That's a key indicator. 2, start a conversation, but make it gentle with open-ended questions. 3, talk to their teachers. They see a whole other side of your child. And finally, step 4, and honestly, this is the most critical one, seek a professional evaluation.
Once you have some clarity, maybe even a diagnosis, that's when the recovery really begins. And recovery is not a solo mission. It absolutely requires a circle of support, a whole team approach where everyone in that child's life is working together.
At home, creating a stable, supportive space is just massive. Simple things, like consistent routines for meals and bedtime can make a world of difference. Limiting screen time, encouraging them to draw or play to get their feelings out, all so helpful. And maybe the most powerful thing, modeling how to cope in a positive way, because they're always watching us.
And school is another huge piece of this puzzle. Teaming up with the school counselor can be a game changer. Sometimes simple changes, like asking for a lighter workload for a little while, can take off so much pressure and just give a child the space they need to heal. And I really want to be clear about this. Getting professional help is a sign of incredible strength. It's not a failure. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, are proven, super effective tools that give kids the skills they need to understand and manage what they're feeling. And if you're wondering, does this stuff really work? Well, the data is pretty convincing.
A recent NIMHAN study found a 64% improvement in symptoms after just 6 months when therapy is combined with that active parental support. So that tells us recovery isn't just possible, it's likely, with the right team in place.
Now we have to shift gears and talk about the most urgent part of this. There are times when this isn't just a concern, it's an emergency. And getting immediate help is completely non-negotiable. We all have to know what those moments look like.
Let me be crystal clear. Any talk of self-harm, any expression of just complete hopelessness, or any comment about wanting to disappear, you must take it seriously, 100% of the time. This is never, ever something to brush off.
If you ever hear a statement like this, "Everyone would be better without me," that is a direct cry for help. It is an emergency, and it means you have to act right away to make sure that child is safe.
So here are the resources that can help in that moment. These are emergency helplines in India. Please just take a second to look at them. Childline at 1098 is a 24/7 free service. If you ever, for a second, think you might need it, please don't hesitate. Make the call. They are there to help.
So let's end on this thought. Mental health, it's not some finish line you cross. It's a process, it's a journey, and supporting a child through depression takes a lot of patience, a lot of love, and professional guidance. But it all starts with one simple thing: listening. Truly listening to what they're telling us, even when they're not using words. By doing that, we can help our kids not just get through this, but come out the other side more resilient, more confident, and ready for whatever the world throws at them. Thanks so much for being here.